Men do not believe that the woman that they are with should be cheating. You just better keep that to yourself. Take it to the grave, because I'm telling you, today's video, we're going to talk about Britney Spears. Some of the things that she talks about are some of the things that inmates go through. I work in the mental health field, and I see this at my job all the time. Hey, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. You guys really enjoyed that video that I did with Jada Pinkett Smith? Yeah, you guys really liked that a lot. If you haven't seen that, make sure you catch that. I'm going to link it above. I've been in the mental health field for about 20 years. I am not a psychologist, okay? I'm not a psychologist. I work around criminals. I work with a lot of psychologists. I work with a psychiatrist as well. So I'm always drawn to like such cases as like Britney Spears. Britney Spears recently released a book called The Woman in Me. And I spent all day listening to the audiobook. It's a 4-hour audiobook. The reason why I said it took me all day was because I had to take some breaks in that book, baby. I had to pause sometimes in that when I was listening to that book. That book is draining. It's exhausting. It talks a lot about a lot of different things. In today's video, we're going to talk about what I thought about the book and what I think is going on with Britney Spears. First and foremost, let's go over some facts. In 1998, her breakout song was Baby One More Time. I remember that song because I loved it. It was really, really good. Hit me, baby, one more time. That was a song. It was real popular. In 1998, what was I doing in 1998? I was in the military. I was in the army. And I remember there was this young girl who was about 16 years old, was all on TV. She was on MTV, all of that, right? And I said to myself then, wow, this girl is very talented. You know, she dressed a little bit provocative, you know, a little risque or whatever like that. But that's what they did back then. That's what they did. Her, Christina Aguilera, it was a whole thing. I felt like Britney Spears was very talented. She could sing, she could dance, you know. She did a little acting back in the day when she did Crossroads. I didn't think that was too good. I didn't really like that. And she even mentioned that in the book when she did Crossroads, that she didn't think that she did a good job either. But let's go to the beginning of the book. I wish that she would have talked a little bit more about her family history. She talked about her father being abusive. She talked about her father being an alcoholic. She also talked about her grandfather also being the same way. She talked about her grandmother being mentally ill. She talked about her grandmother also, you know, unaliving herself. And she was 31 when she did that, by the way. So a lot of mental illness kind of surfaces when a person is in their teens or early adulthood, you know. So that's when it shows up. Okay, usually it shows up because something traumatic has happened or whatever. There was so much stuff that she talked about in this book. The book was almost all over the place for me. I had to write down. I got a lot of notes. Britney Spears started drinking at the age of 13, maybe a little bit younger than that, but definitely at the age of 13, she was drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes. She started drinking alcohol with her mom. Can you believe that? Her mother allowed her to drink alcohol with her. They were drinking buddies. They would go hang out and they would drink alcohol. What? Who does that? What parent does that? You got some parents out there that will do that. Those are abusive parents because you should not be drinking alcohol with your kids, okay? It's crazy because her whole story, to sum it up, really is about power and control. This is what this whole thing is all about, power and control. She comes from a family who is abusive and they are very controlling. But oftentimes we get some bad habits from our parents as well, like the alcohol abuse, you know. And also we kind of, you know, maybe she's a little bit controlling herself, but we'll talk about that later. She says that she has social anxiety and she's an empath. She also calls herself rebellious. All right, so here we go. You have controlling parents, and parents don't really let the kids do anything, you know. What happens with the kids? The kids they want to buck. They want to start doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? They're going to start being a little rebellious. So that's how that starts. She says that when she did an interview with Diane Sawyer, that's when she noticed that things with her started to change. Okay. And the reason why things started to change was because she was in a relationship with Justin Timberlake. I remember that relationship. Oh my God. I remember when they showed up I think it was the VMAs. They showed up in that denim outfit. Now, a lot of people didn't like the denim outfit, but I liked it. I thought it was cute. I mean, they were like young, you know what I'm saying? Like they should have been wearing stuff like that. I thought they looked good, you know? Deep down inside, I always felt like they should have stayed together. I really wish that they could have worked that out. And I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but let me go into the Justin Timberlake part first, because this was kind of like early in the book when she talked about this relationship that she had with him, right? They met on the Mickey Mouse Club, you know, they used to hang out together. Then they got a little bit older. They had a relationship with each other. She loved him. She liked him a whole lot. I think she liked him a little bit more than he liked her, even though there was some love for her too on his side, you know. But she does talk about how she was like head over heels with him. She looked past a lot of the things that he did back in the day. Like she knew that he cheated on her and she still looked past it. That's a red flag, ladies. You cannot look past that kind of stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially like when you're just dating somebody. You just can't just look past that, because that's a problem. My issue with Britney Spears is that I feel as though Britney Spears doesn't have any boundaries. She has no boundaries. None whatsoever. Her own boundaries were challenged when she said that she knew that Justin Timberlake was cheating on her and she still chose to look the other way. She didn't care. She was like, I'm into him. I know he's cheating on me, but oh well, I'm gonna look past it. And I'm gonna look past it. And I'm gonna look past it. But then what happened? She ended up cheating on him. And then she had a conscience and she was like, she told him that she cheated on him. And he, like many men, did not take that well. He didn't take it well. Ladies, let me say this. You might not want to hear this. This may not be the best advice to give you. But I'm telling you, when you are dating a guy and he has slipped up like that, you cannot do a tit for tat. It's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. You can't meet him with that same energy. Men do not believe that the woman that they are with should be cheating on them. They can't handle it. They cannot handle it. My advice to you would be, you better keep that to yourself. Take it to the grave, because I'm telling you, if he finds out about it, he ain't going to have nothing to do with you. It's not going to work. You might just want to just break up. If you break up with him, just don't tell him nothing that you did. You just can't meet him with the same energy. Men cannot handle that. And I'm just telling you, do not tell that man that you messed around on him, because he is not going to take it well. He is going to leave you. So that's what he did. He left her. He left her ass. He made a song about it. Oh my gosh. And like, where was I at? In the Twilight Zone or something? I didn't even realize that Cry Me a River was all about her. That whole CD, I guess, Justified, was about Britney. Like, she became really good content for him. Baby, like his whole world had changed. Like Justin Timberlake had blew up. You know, like he had arrived. He had arrived at the expense of Britney, who ended up going down a dark hole of depression. So the interview with Diane Sawyer was very disturbing to her, she says, because Diane Sawyer was asking her questions and she was pressing her about, what did you do to Justin Timberlake to make him break up with you? Like, what did you do to cause him to have such a heartache? Like, what? Why is this song about you? Why is he writing Cry Me a River? Is that about you? So Britney Spears is like, I don't like to kiss and tell, but she says in the book that she was secretly happy that Justin told everybody that they had slept together. It's really weird, right? Britney has some weird ways of thinking. And even in the book, she mentions that she's weird. Like certain things were going on in her brain that were weird. So what I don't like in the book is that we don't get to go into those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like, she tells you that this was weird. You know, I thought that this was weird. This was going on, and I started thinking weird or something like that. Well, what does that mean? What do you mean you felt weird? What was going on? But she doesn't really go into that. She just goes into the next topic. I went on Google to see if Britney Spears had been diagnosed with anything. And this is what came up. Bipolar disorder. Okay? It says, after a public meltdown in 2007, okay, she left her home accompanied by a team of medical professionals to be treated in a mental health facility after keeping her two sons hostage. Shortly afterwards, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. That's what it says here. It does not mention anything about bipolar disorder in the book. Unless I fell asleep during that time, I did not hear anything about bipolar disorder. Didn't hear anything about bipolar disorder. But she does mention that she has anger problems, and she mentions that she has postpartum depression. But here's the thing. Here's some flags. She went to Vegas. She got drunk, got married to somebody that I think she barely even knew. The marriage got annulled. And so that's an extreme high. Like, who does that? That's really not normal behavior. And she didn't take it serious. Like, even when her parents were like, Britney, you got married. What the hell? What? And she's like, why are you guys so upset? Like, what's the problem? I just got married. Like, people do that all the time. People come to Vegas and get married all the time. Like, guys, we just got married. And they're like, but you don't even know him, or like that. Like, why would you do that? Like, what? Y'all wasn't even together all like that. You just decided to get married? Like what? See, that's a flag. That's a flag. She does state that she was depressed after giving birth. She said she felt weird. Her hormones were out of control. And like I said, in the book, she describes herself as being weird often. So we're going to reference this because what I thought was interesting was that she described herself as being controlling. Like, she described her own self as being controlling. She described herself being controlling, like when she was pregnant and like right after she had her kids or whatever, like she felt like she was controlling. And I thought that was weird because if we think about her own parents and her own family history, that's the same issue that she has with her own family, being controlling. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay for you to be controlling, but it's not okay for your parents to be controlling. You know, like behavior is learned. You know what I mean? During her pregnancy, she said she loved sex. Baby, Britney was loving sex before she got pregnant. I'm sorry. Britney was loving sex a whole lot. A whole lot. I can tell. She was having sex. Like she in the book, she says that she started having sex when she was 14. I think that she's an overly sexual person. I'll just leave it at that. And that she admits to loving sex when she was pregnant, but I think that she loved sex before. Britney kind of contradicts herself because she is a bad girl. She's a little bit of a bad girl, you know, but then she wants to be this good girl. Like, and you can be both. Just be honest. Just be honest. It is what it is. You don't have to be one or the other. Just be honest. And I think in the book, I kind of feel like she's not really being honest, because in the book, she's portraying herself to be this, even though there is a sentence in there that she does say, I don't claim to be a saint or something like that. But see, we only just put a little bit of that in there, a little disclaimer in there, but the whole book kind of portrays her to be a victim. You know, she got married to Kevin Federline. Okay, here's my problem with this. Once again, Britney claims to never know stuff about people until she's been victimized. She says, I didn't know he had 2 kids. When we started dating, I didn't know he had 2 kids. And that, you know, I didn't know this until after we were already involved. Then I realized that he had 2 kids. See, and then even when she found out that he had 2 kids, she still stayed with him. She married him. She asked him to marry her. And he said no. And then later on, he said yes. He asked her to marry him. So, once again, Britney, no boundaries. No boundaries. Even when you find out this person is probably not good for you, you still decide to go against your own boundaries, move your boundaries, move the goalposts, and still be the victim. Same thing with Justin Timberlake. You knew he was cheating, but you were just like, I don't care. Until you decided to cheat on him, and then when he didn't like the fact that you cheated on him, he had a whole problem with it, he broke up with you, now you're going to be the victim, and you're going to say, but he cheated on me first. I'm still being open-minded as I'm listening to this story. But I'm just kind of like, really? She does admit that she learned to say no after being married to Kevin Federline. But what she chose to say no to was like, she was saying no to like her career. Like, she didn't really want to do those things anymore. She wanted to be like a wife and a mother. That's what she wanted to be. But at that time, you know, her husband was more focused on himself and trying to, you know, take advantage of the perks of being her husband, you know. And I think at the time, wasn't he already like, he was still involved with another woman, his baby mama or whatever? I remember that back in the day. I remember her back in the day. Okay, all right, let's look at this. I got a couple of things that I wrote down. All right. She started Vicodin because of a knee injury when she was on tour, right? So she started Vicodin. I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget. Where I work in the prison, where I work at, around a lot of guys who have mental illnesses, these are some of the medications that they take. Abilify, which is, let me get everything correct because I don't want to give you the wrong information. Antipsychotic. Let me tell you what it's used to treat. It's used to treat, it can treat schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, you know, it can also treat irritability associated with autism. But Abilify is one of the drugs that one of the medications that we give inmates. We also give them, Zyprexa, which is also olanzapine. So let's look at olanzapine. That's also an antipsychotic. It's used to treat mental disorders, including schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Yeah. Zyprexa is also another name for olanzapine. Adderall is another drug that we use when we give the inmates. Let's look at Adderall. Because she states that she was on Adderall. So let's look at Adderall, okay? And Adderall is used for people with ADHD. That's what it says. Let's see if it can help with anxiety. Those suffering from anxiety might feel that Adderall use makes them feel better due to immediate releases of dopamine in the brain. Okay, so she was on Adderall probably for the anxiety because she does talk about anxiety. She talks about social anxiety a lot in here. A lot of times, and I know it's crazy because a lot of times you're like, why would a person who is a celebrity have social anxiety? Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, why would a person who is in front of a camera, or in front of millions of people, in front of a crowd on tour, like, why would that person have social anxiety? Because you're not intimate. You're not that intimate when you're on a camera. You're not intimate when you are on tour, when you are singing to a crowd of like millions of people or thousands of people. You're not intimate. But if you have to talk to somebody one-on-one, if that person has to interact with you, that's where the social anxiety can come in, because it's a very intimate atmosphere. Also, that person is asking you questions that you may not feel comfortable about, and you don't have control. You don't have control over the situation, which can cause somebody to feel anxious, social anxiety. Now, Britney does like to have control. Britney she is a control freak. She really, really is. You might not think it, but that's what I think. And a lot of the reasons why we are the way we are is because of our parents. And if we don't change those behaviors, they get repeated. As I was editing the video, I realized that there was something that I left out. And I left out the fact that she was taking lithium when she was at the facility. So lithium is prescribed for if you have like bipolar disorder, you have anxiety, things like that. It's to help with the moods, you know what I mean? The extreme highs and stuff like that. So that's why she was taking lithium. I forgot to mention that, and I apologize. She went over that like towards the end of the book. So I thought that that's something that was important for me to add. Also, I did not talk about the abortion that she had with Justin Timberlake. And the reason why I didn't talk about that is it's such a controversial topic, abortion. So I was like, let me just kind of stay away from that because, you know, that's their business. But I will say this. So in the book, she mentions that after she had the abortion, she felt weird, and then her behavior started to kind of spiral after that. And I've said this a lot of times that usually when a person has mental illness, then it will be triggered by something that happens that's traumatic or something like that. So I can only assume and speculate that this event was a very traumatic experience for Britney, causing the onset of her mental illness. Yeah. She does mention about her mother and her father's relationship not being good, and saying that her mother ended up divorcing her father finally or whatever like that. I think that her mother was kind of passive. Seems like to me her mother didn't have strong boundaries, which is probably something that she learned from her mother. Not, you know, it seems like it was some learned behavior. Conservatorship. Am I saying that word right? It feels really, really funny. All right. A conservatorship is a way for someone to assume legal guardianship over an adult. It's different from guardianship. Guardianship is like for minors. I don't know how to say it like without being probably offending some people, but when a psychologist or a mental health worker gives you a diagnosis, they can lose their license if they're not practicing correctly. I don't know if she's been diagnosed with anything. The internet says that she's been diagnosed with bipolar. And, but in the book, she doesn't mention that. She mentions postpartum depression. But let's just say that a psychologist did diagnose her with bipolar disorder based off of some of the things that she was doing. I'm sure that the court probably did feel as though she was a danger to herself or maybe others, to include her kids. Now, I'm happy that she got that overturned and everything is fine with her right now, because I feel like she is a grown woman. She should be living her life. And she should be able to take care of her kids if she wants to. But let's just be honest, you know, in the book, when she talks about those things, I don't think she understands the seriousness of what she was doing. She talks about it and she justifies her actions, and in her mind, there are legit reasons. But when I'm around inmates, they do this too. In their minds, they're right. They say, hey, the reason why I did this was because of this. And for them, it's just that simple. I did this because of this. This is why I did this. And you're like, but you just can't go around, you know, swinging an umbrella at people. Or you just can't go around like holding kids hostage, putting them in closets and stuff like that. You just can't do certain things. There are ways to do things. You know, when she decided to shave her head, she talks about it in the book and she explains the reasons why she did it. You know what? I was mad. It was a way for me to be rebellious. I just got tired of people telling me what I could do and what I couldn't do. You guys always associate hair with being beautiful and hair with being, I guess she was trying to say, being feminine and sexual and all that stuff. And she wanted to be totally opposite of that. So at that time, this is the thing. This is what makes it erratic. She didn't just do that. It was the time that when she did it. She did it so abruptly. Like she was abruptly. It just out of nowhere. It just was in the middle of the street. And I think she decided to go to a hair salon at the time and just shave her head out and come back out. And it was just like, really? It wasn't like this was something that she did like in her home because she decided that she wanted to do it. It was just an abrupt move, which made people wonder, like, are you okay? So a lot of times when you're dealing with people who do have mental illnesses, in their minds, the things that they do make perfectly good sense to them. It makes perfectly good sense to them. And the justifications of why they do things is really not that deep. They say, I did this because I was acting out. I was being rebellious. So you were just acting out. So you think that you as a grown woman should be acting like this. Here's the other thing that's so crazy in this book. That's what kind of contradicts itself. Because Britney Spears wants to be treated like a grown woman. In the book, she clearly talks about how she is Benjamin buttoning backwards to being a child. She says that many, many times. Many, many times. I Benjamin button back to being like a kid. That's a flag. But you're not a kid, you're adult. You want to be treated like a grown woman, but now you're admitting that you act like a child. Okay? Okay. You see how it doesn't make any sense? She says that she has not done any drugs. She says that it's just alcohol. I drink. She drinks. A lot of times, a person who has an alcohol problem will not admit to having an alcohol problem. They don't think that drinking alcohol is a problem. They just think it's okay to drink. Like, I'm just drinking. So it's really hard. So when somebody decides they want to go to Alcoholics Anonymous and things like that, baby, they have taken a big, big step. A big, big step. Because they are admitting to having a problem. Britney never really admits to having a problem with alcohol. Alcohol abuse runs in the family. Mental illness runs in the family. The environment that she's in exposes her to alcohol and drugs. But however, she denies any drug use. But she does say that she drank a whole lot of alcohol. So, and she says that she was just drinking like energy drinks, you know. She does not admit to having an issue with energy drinks, which a lot of people around her felt that she had an issue with energy drinks. All right. A lot of people drink energy drinks. I can't drink an energy drink because I can't tolerate the caffeine. It's too much for me. Let's see how many energy drinks you should have in a day. How many energy drinks? Okay. Baby, it says stick to no more than 1 to 2 energy drinks per day. 1 to 2 energy drinks per day. Her family had a problem with her because she was drinking too damn many. Too many energy drinks. She's been addicted to the energy drink. But anyway, she never admits to having a problem with substance abuse. Like, she just does not. She never admits to having a problem with it. So there's that denial. I really just think that Britney Spears is in denial a whole lot. She does say that she does need help. She says she needs help. But the help that she wants is probably not the help that she needs. See, let's go back to childhood, okay? So Britney Spears has a father who's abusive and all that. She's probably looking for a man who is more stable in her life. She's looking for somebody to take care of her. And she always ends up with the wrong guys. You know what I'm saying? And so that's been her problem. This is what she wants. It's a man just going to take care of her, but she ends up being with the wrong dudes. Some things still weren't adding up, so I decided to like take a look at her Instagram page. And y'all, when she was out there with them knives and stuff, and she was doing that dance with them doggone knives and talking about it's Halloween, I was like, girl, what? All I'm gonna say is that, wow. There were some other things that were going on Instagram that was really like, wow, highly sexual, overly sexual. Let me look at histrionic, because I'm like, histrionic is something that comes to my mind, but let's look at histrionic personality disorder. All of this requires a medical diagnosis, so I'm only speculating. Don't come for me. What are some symptoms of histrionic personality? Using physical appearance to gain attention. Using physical appearance to gain attention on Instagram. Speaking vaguely, lacking in detail. There you go. When you read the book, I forgot to mention this. It's very almost kind of juvenile. It's almost like, I'm like, what am I listening to? Like, it's written so juvenile, like it's just like a teenager writing this. You know what I'm saying? It's lacking some type of substance. You know, you almost want her to go a little bit deeper. Like, explain to me the weird thoughts that you are having. You know, let's go a little bit deeper. It's something missing. It's just very surface like stuff. You know, and I noticed that. So, yes, I caught that. It's just plain dramatic and theatrical behavior and exaggerated emotions. Being easily influenced by others or circumstances. Baby, I'm not a psychologist, but if I had to diagnose Britney Spears with something, it definitely would be histrionic personality disorder. Those are my thoughts. Those are my 2 cents. Comment below, let me know what you think. Hey, we can agree or disagree. Just be respectful, okay? All right, till next time.